Sarah, you know what? I've been thinking.
Oh, my, here we go. What's been on your mind, Renee? We all want to know.
Like I believe that. So I've been thinking, there are so many amazing stories developing right here in Fostoria, Ohio. And I can only imagine that there are very similar stories happening all over rural and suburban America. And these stories deserve to be told.
I wholeheartedly agree. But I'm sure that doesn't surprise you.
No, it doesn't. You should agree with me because I'm right.
Right. So what do we do about all these stories?
Well, we've got to make it our mission to tell them. They deserve a platform, and that's what this podcast shall be. I've decided.
Well, Renee's decided, and that's how it shall be.
Exactly.
Truthfully, you're right. I know here in Fostoria, we're all working together to make the most of a multitude of resources out there. Lots of people probably don't know about all the resources available to them. We could share all the resources we've capitalized on via this podcast.
That's what I'm saying.
Glad to know we're on the same page.
Yup. So buckle up, people, and enjoy another episode of Shut Up and Listen,
Small Town Stories
with Sarah
and Renee.
After 12 years as mayor, is he really normal?
It's normal-ish.
No.
Normal-ish.
Okay, go ahead and introduce him.
All right. Well, on the couch with us today, we have current Mayor Eric Keckler of the city of Fostoria and the incoming mayor of the city of Fostoria, Don Mennel. So welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
Good. Well,
What's the thing about on the couch?
On the couch. Well, all of our guests are on the couch.
Sitting on the couch.
Oh,
Yes.
it's kind of a psychic thing.
Okay, sure.
This is therapy. Here we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we are.
You're in a safe space.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, you might leave changed. Who knows? We'll see what kind of questions come out today. But, well, congratulations. You're newly elected as the incoming mayor.
Thank you, I
You're
think.
welcome. You think? Okay. We think it's going to be good.
It's going to be great.
Is it going to be great because you get to like ride off into the sunset, or
No,
because
it's-
you're confident?
I have confidence that,
Good.
all the stuff we've been working on is going to continue on and probably even be better.
Wow. Wow.
I like that.
I like that. So you have served as the mayor for 12
12 years.
So let's take just a couple minutes and kind of look back at those 12 years, if we will, reminisce. What are some of the highlights? What are you most proud of in looking back as you kind of close this chapter and get ready to start a new one? What are you most proud of?
Well, I had this thought of coming in and making sure that we were connected to the outside world in a really positive way. So we went about trying to build some relationships with county commissioners and state elected officials and our federal people, just so that they knew who they're dealing with and were comfortable with dealing with us, and just building those kind of relationships. And I think really, this connection between, as we said, my end of the street and your end of the street has been really great for the community, because that collaboration between this office, this building, and all the offices in it, and my building with all the offices in it, has made a lot of great things happen for the community. Gotten so many interesting grants and projects, and just the most recent ones are some of the more exciting ones, with Splash Pad and Inclusive Playground and
But let's go back.
Overpass, all
Let's
these
go back.
new things.
We've talked about all of those
Yeah.
things. But you've been in office for 12 years.
Mhm.
Go back to your first couple of terms.
Yeah.
What are some things that if somebody were to ask you, what do you want your legacy to be as mayor? What would that be?
That's a big question. That's a long time ago. 12 years.
I know. You recall I've been here for 11 of the 12.
Well, I think just from the very beginning, just putting putting the leadership together of department heads and some of the programs that we've continued on, some new ones with, we years ago were part of the LEAF program and the recycling area out at Foundation Park, and some of those things like that with how the leaf pickup and places for people to take limbs have morphed through the years, and just those kind of services for the city. The finalizing that agreement between the Geary YMCA and the city and the foundation to help turn Foundation Park into what it's become was it started prior to me coming in, but we worked to get the language in the contract, the original contract, put together so that Foundation Park could turn into a place where we could be proud of, kids could go and play ball, and all the money that was put into that by the foundation and the work that continues on. Those kind of collaborative efforts like that are something big, because we didn't have a lot of money back in those days, and we couldn't have put the money into the park like was put in that park by the foundation, and the why to manage it. That was huge and continues to be huge for the community. So that was really early on. Like I said, we didn't start it, but we helped to finalize the deal, and I think it's worked out really well for the community.
I mean, you've really done it's run the gamut with your tenure as mayor.
Yeah, that's it. We concentrate so much right now on everything that we're doing right now. It's like we do those projects and we put them behind us, we move on. So,
but there's been a lot of, some of the things you talked about were highly visible, but there's been a lot of infrastructure projects when you look at all that's been done with wastewater. I think those are a lot of things that people don't maybe notice.
Yeah, I think just because it was so long ago, I think it was 2005, the city was put into those orders by the EPA to try to stop those combined sewer overflows into the Portage River, and a lot of this whole $16 million project at the sewer plant was to allow the plant to be able to accept all of that water, up to 12 million gallons a day, and not back up into the community, and we can be able to treat it and put it in the Portage River, then in a state where we're not causing issues with the river, and hopefully we're going to prove that it's going to be lesser amounts of combined sewer overflows that go into the river, which will get us out of trouble with the EPA and potentially stop another $20 million worth of projects that have to be done that still live in that consent decree. But the other part of it was that H2 Ohio project that did live in that document years and years ago, and saw the opportunity to go after a $2 million grant through H2 Ohio to fulfill another piece of that. I saw these wetlands projects being done all around us, and I saw Gary Click's face at one of them, and I called him and said, "Hey, how do we get involved in this thing?" And he led me to the right people, and we got that grant out there, and it's going to take a little while for that project to get done, because it's government, that's how stuff works, but it's another big piece of this puzzle that the city's not going to have to pay for, because we found a grant from H2 Ohio. So that's, in the end, that'll be a really, really big deal for the community if we're able to come out of this consent decree and be able to treat all that storm water and sanitary sewer water at our plant very safely and get it out into the Portage River.
As a mayor, you've had to make some unpopular decisions as well.
Yeah.
Closing the city pool was unpopular, but it's leading to something new. But
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things, and I think one of the biggest misconceptions, is the city being under fiscal emergency.
Well, yeah.
And I wanted to provide you an opportunity to
you.
perhaps clarify that.
That's cute. Thank you very much. But
Because you made that call.
when we came into office, we we did struggle to know exactly where we were at any time during a budget year, and there were some things that just led me to believe that maybe we could do things better. So we reached out to the auditor's office, asked them if they would come in and take a look at procedures and how we do things, and that did lead us to eventually being put into fiscal emergency. But I think, again, when we come out of this, the procedures in all of the offices, including the finance office, but not only that, we're in a place where our supervisors know their budget from one side to the other, and they can really manage it better than they ever could before. And this whole transparency thing, well, now we're going to know right up to the month where the city's budget stands. Mm-hmm. And anytime anybody, and it's always been this way, anytime anybody wants to see anything that is public information, they just ask for it, they can see it. And because it's public information for a reason, nobody's ever really hidden anything. I think we've always struggled on what's the best forum, what's the best way to have that information available to people. But anytime anybody wanted that public information, they could have it. Mm-hmm. But this just makes it so that procedurally we fit into how the state wants to see it, how the county wants to see it, and then we're much more accountable to the citizens for having gone through this little endeavor with the state. And when we come out the other side, we'll be better for it. But I know when we first went in, there was this misconception that we had done something wrong. It's just procedures weren't like they should have been, and now we know what they are. There's a checklist, and once we check all those off, I think we're going to be better for it.
But I think it's important to note there were not issues that the state identified and came to us.
No.
The leadership within the city had concerns and reached out to the state auditor's office.
Well, yeah, and there was never any discussion, any hint of impropriety in any way. It's just the fact that our procedurally we weren't where we should have been in order for things to move along and flow like they should, and to have the information and be able to have the monthly accounts all budgeted and then balanced. And so I think we're going to be in a position here fairly soon where that's going to happen. We'll be at the end of the month. It won't be too long afterwards that we'll know right where we stand, and that's going to be great for the city moving forward.
Okay, this has all been very heavy.
Yes, I know.
I'm done with the heavy.
Nuts and bolts
So,
stuff. But
what has been your favorite part of being mayor? Your favorite part?
Other than working with Renee, what's your favorite?
yeah, I know that goes without saying.
I know.
It really does. Well, I think you guys have been around me long enough that I love to be out in the community just doing. When somebody has an event, I want to be there. I want to be there to show them that whatever it is that they're, for whatever reason, they're having their event, that it's important to the city too. Mm-hmm. And that we appreciate the fact that they are contributing some way to the community, and we want to, I'd like to be there to show support to that, and I try to be at as many things as I can be at, and it has, thank goodness Anita is very understanding, because when she was working before she retired, there was a lot of things that we didn't do because I was off to a farmer's market, or I was off to the Easter egg scramble, or whatever it is that we may be doing, or someone else may be doing. We're off to support it, and so that is one of the things that made this possible, was an understanding wife at home who hopefully
God love Anita.
Didn't feel too left out, because with her work schedule she couldn't always go to those things. But now that she's retired, she's become a member of the garden club, the Friends of the Library, so now she's already at those events before I get there.
That's nice.
But that is probably is the biggest is the biggest piece, is just being able to participate in all these things and to go as mayor to show support to them, because I think people think that's important, that you're there. And even if sometimes you don't think of, I still think of just me, but a lot of times it's a big deal when the mayor shows up. And
It's your big deal.
and the other, the other part of it is going and seeing the children, go to see the kids at the school, and they always get a kick out of the fact that the mayor has come to the school to do something with them.
Yeah, they do think that's neat. We've had this conversation a lot. My kids are like, "Oh, it's the mayor."
The mayor's
I'm
here.
like,
And I'm like,
yeah, it's the mayor. And, oh, that's right. He's a very big deal.
Well, and I'd get that in a grocery store sometime when go, looking at some bacon or something, and somebody,
Just shopping for bacon,
a little-
normal day.
little kids are shopping with mom or dad, and I can hear them say, "Mom, that's the mayor," and I just go, "Yes, hi, I'm Eric. How are you? How are you?" And they get that look. It's like I honestly don't think I'm a big deal, and have never thought that, but it is a big deal that the mayor of the city maybe goes to the school and hangs out with the kids or goes to events, and so I try to go to many of those things I could.
I want to mention one more thing.
Yeah.
And then we'll transition to Don.
Yes.
Can we talk about the Snow Queen program that you developed?
Yeah.
It's
That's
one of my-
the legacy.
It's one of my favorites.
Well, back in the day when I first came into office, we were still doing the Glass Queen and the Glass Princesses, and there wasn't anything out there for ladies of a certain age,
The over 60 crowd.
the over 60 crowd, and to show some sort of thanks to them, because usually it's somebody who has been heavily invested in the community and volunteering for everything, and so this was a chance to give back to them and to show some thanks for them, and then that turned into the lighting of the Christmas tree on the city building lawn, and then in the parade.
Yes.
And that's I hope
It's a crowd pleaser.
well, I hope the new mayor keeps that up, but we'll see.
Oh, yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Well, you could share that with him.
It really has been a big crowd pleaser.
It is.
And the ladies, when they're we come bring the official Snow Queen garb, which is the sash and the crown and the white blanket to wear in the parade, and they bring their families in. That is also a pretty big deal to them. It's fun to see how much fun they have, either at the parade or even at Christmas tree lighting, and the photos afterwards. That is something fun to leave behind, no doubt.
It's one of my favorites, like I said.
It really, and there has been just some really, really fine ladies in the community that have been the Snow Queen. So
We just went through this.
it's great. It is
Because I
great.
thought we could name all of them. But
Yeah.
the first one was Georgie Widmer.
Yes, I believe
Mhm.
this was 10, 8 or 10.
I don't know.
It
So
was
Georgie,
Georgie.
Leah. No, there's
Doris
somebody
Medina.
else. Oh yeah, Doris Medina.
Leah
Yeah.
Hipsher. Now this is where I'm going to lose. Because
Yeah.
Carol Kin was one.
Carol.
Diane Lind.
Mm-hmm.
Tootsie Gillig.
Yep.
Joni Pinsky.
Yep.
Pat Coronado.
Pat Coronado. Becky Tice. And Bev Lang.
That's Lang.
10.
That's 10.
Yeah, Becky Lynch.
You have to be impressed that I can go back and remember
Mm.
those. For something I'm not even involved in.
Well,
much
I
care.
think what you're hoping is that this carries on another 30 years
Yeah,
or
so
so.
that
and you're
she
able-
too could
you're
be
able
a
to
Snow
be
Queen.
Snow Queen.
Or a junior Snow Queen division for middle age.
I hope.
No, no.
It's okay.
No.
We won't.
But to your point,
No, it's good. We understand.
some of those ladies, I mean, they have absolutely loved it.
Yeah, the excitement on their faces and just in
I mean,
in
Leah
their family.
Hipsher was beside
She
herself
was.
excited when she was
She
crowned.
was. Yep. Yep.
And I agree with you. It's a great way to recognize people who have been longtime volunteers in this community in a variety of
Yep.
capacities.
And it has run the gamut of different organizations and ways that they've given their time in the community. That's been a lot of fun. It has been a lot of fun. That is like the Thanksgiving present to me and the community, because we do that week of Thanksgiving. It's one of the last things we do that week of Thanksgiving. before we go out to the meal at the high school.
I just knew getting you talking about it would really excite
I
you.
do enjoy that one, and I love the silly
Your
Easter egg
passion for the
scramble.
Snow Queen is very different than your passion for the wastewater treatment plant.
Yes.
Yeah, those are all
Yes.
nuts and bolts stuff. This other stuff is all feel good fun stuff.
So, as we transition from the feel good fun stuff into our
Feel
incoming
good fun stuff.
Wait, what?
Can we make that an official category? Let's make a list. Feel good
So-
fun stuff.
Eric, you're finalizing your tenure, and Don, you will be starting here in a couple weeks. First of all, why did you want to run for mayor?
You asked that in such a negative way.
Well, it's a legitimate.
It's a
I
big
think
job.
it takes
There's
a special
it does.
person to
It
run
does.
for political office of any kind. And I know you've been on council for a couple years, and you decided to run for mayor, so I think it's important that we tee this all up by you explaining why you decided to run.
Well, I learned a lot on council, and when I looked at what Eric had accomplished over his 12 years and the momentum that the city has, I felt that we really had to continue that momentum, and we've got a lot of exciting projects on the books. Most of them, some of them funded, some of them not funded, but we've got so many great projects coming down the road that I felt that we wanted to make sure that they were executed properly and could be finished.
So, as you transition into mayor of the city of Fostoria, do you kind of have an idea of some of the first things that you want to work on or try to accomplish? Or do you see yourself initially just kind of learning? How do you see it rolling out for you?
Kind of a yes and a no. There are times when I feel like I'm drinking from a fire hose. I've got a lot to learn, and specifically water and sewer areas, and there's just a lot coming at me at my calendar. I mean, you know, how he gets things done when he's attending all of these other things is pretty challenging. But no, I have a lot of things that I'm looking at, areas that can use improvement, areas that need to be addressed, and I'm still learning. My one caveat when I ran for mayor was that if I call him, he answers the phone.
And we've spent a lot of quality time together since the election, so that I want to make sure that he's up to snuff on everything. And I did make that promise, and I will fulfill that promise. Whatever you need, that's what you'll have. If it's useful in here, you can have it. The other useless stuff I'll keep to myself.
Okay.
So, what can the citizens of Fostoria expect from you as mayor?
Well, that's a great question.
Thanks.
Well, I think, you know, one of the first things I want to address is that wherever I go, I hear people saying that they call the city building and they don't get a call back. So I think one of the first things I'm going to work on is making sure that we return telephone calls. I think people deserve that. I think that communications can be improved, and I want to work on communications a lot in that area. We want to address the city's webpage and get more information on it so that people have a place they can go to figure things out. So that's going to have to be maintained properly and with more information on it. It's a long list. It's a long list. And I've been keeping a list ever since I decided to run. So I review it every once in a while, and it's just keeps growing.
So we kind of, we talked about Eric and, we took him back to the beginning. But as you start, what would you like your legacy to be?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, this is a road not yet traveled, and I think, Robert Frost said 2 roads diverged into a wood, and I took the one less traveled, and that has made all the difference. So perhaps I take a road less traveled and we see where we go.
Okay.
But I've got a lot of people asking me a lot of questions right now, and and wanting to talk to me and things like that, and I will listen and make decisions from there and move forward. So legacy I'm not driven to create a legacy. I just want to do the best job I can and see what comes from that.
Okay. You are two very different individuals. You look at things very differently. And I, for one, as somebody that, works with the city on a variety of projects, I'm interested to see, 6 months from now, kind of where we are and what we're doing. Because, and I'll openly admit it, there's a level of comfort working with Eric because
11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
11 years.
It's, and now someone new is coming in, and I've worked with you in other capacities, and I'm not worried about it, but I can see from my perspective, and I'm sure from, city employees' perspectives and things like that, it's going to be a change, not necessarily a bad change, but a change. And I think it's going to be interesting for all of us, and I think it's going to be interesting for you, coming from private industry into government.
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The first change that you recognize when you come from private industry into government is that everything operates at a very, very, very slow pace in government. Correct?
That is a true statement, yes.
So there are going to be a lot of frustrations.
But maybe that will be helpful since your calendar's filling up so quickly.
We'll see. We'll see. And of course, you're absolutely correct that people don't really like change. And when you look at the city employees, maybe 50% of them have never been through a change of mayor before?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's an
that's true
interesting
enough.
Because you've
point.
been
I
in
hadn't
office
thought
for
about
so
that.
long.
That's true enough.
You've been in office for 12 years.
That is
I
true.
had
I
not
hadn't
thought about
Probably half of them don't have 12 years tenure yet. So I recognize that, it's a lot easier if you're the changer than if you're the changee. So we've been through that before in a lot of cases and things, and that's something that I want to work through. I want to work through that carefully, and I think the city employees will be comfortable, but they don't know me yet. So it'll take some time.
Well, I, for one, am excited to work with you.
As
Thank
am
you.
I.
Thank you. I look forward to it as well.
Yes.
And Eric, you will be missed.
Oh.
I don't want to leave you out of this.
I can't
Yes,
even
so
talk
much.
about it.
We're
Yes,
not.
so
We're
much.
in denial because it's not. It's still December as we're recording this, so it hasn't happened yet. But okay, moving on.
Yeah, one of the interesting things from beginning to the end, one of my first things I could think of was invited to a luncheon at I think where the kindergartners were. It was the green team, and this year I got to see them in their senior year.
Oh my gosh.
So how do you like
make you
that?
feel?
Yeah, don't even ask.
Don't even
I'm not even gonna pretend I get asked that question, but it was just interesting to have been part of that. You don't think about that when you talk about those 12 years. That's all those kids knew was me, and so it's just kind of an interesting little tidbit that you got invited to the green team luncheon because those were the ones that were excelling that month, and then we did the kente draping and some things like that, and some of the kids were part of that senior class.
Wow. Yeah. So if you ever thought that those 12 years went really fast, and then you look at kids,
where they were and where they and
a
now
little bit of change, a little bit of
Yes.
change there.
a little more perspective that way.
Yeah.
A lifetime to them. A chapter in mine.
Wow.
The Robert Frost thing kind of got me. So
I wondered.
try to throw my own thing in.
It was deep.
Thanks.
It was nice. Nicely played.
Thanks.
Well, Mayor Keckler, thank you for your service.
Yes.
I assure you, you will be missed by many.
Well, thank you for saying. I will there are a lot of aspects that I will miss, and I said before, I'll say it again. I mostly enjoyed this 12 years. Everything has its up and downs, but the thing is that if you didn't love this community, if Don didn't love this community, we wouldn't do this, because that's what it takes. So, Don has been in this community for a long time, let's just say, and this is, I've spent 42 years working for the city, and I did have the advantage of having worked for the city for 30 years, so I knew how quickly government worked, and so that's why I'm at your service, Don. Whatever you need. When you're frustrated, we'll get you through it.
And Mayor-elect Mennel, which you should know I will never call you that again, but this one time.
It's sort of a tongue twister. But
welcome aboard in your new role. And we look forward to working with you and partnering with you and the administration for, at least the next 4 years. And that's all from me. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
I'm just going to echo your comments, and, while thank you, Eric, for all that you've done.
Sure.
And you've accomplished a lot in those 12 years, and you should be very proud. And it wasn't always easy, and it wasn't always popular. So thank you. You've accomplished a lot. And Don, thank you for caring and running, because you do truly care about this community, and you are retired, or were retired, and you weren't out there seeking another second career. But thank you for seeing the need and stepping in with all of the knowledge and experience that you're bringing to the table. We do greatly appreciate that.
Thank you both, and thank you, Eric, for your service. It's been a good, strong 12 years rebuilding the city.
Well, thank you, Don. And for me, one last thing, and I know going into this, I'm confident, but that you do a great job. But you really are inheriting a great workforce. Our police and fire and EMS and the 811 crew, they're very talented and dedicated group of people. So they'll make you look good, because they made me look good.
Yep.
And being able to come down here and the support of this group down here, it's what makes the community successful. And so I think you're in good hands.
I recognize that. I hope so. I recognize that. And you're absolutely right. We've got a great group of employees, and they do a great job, and they don't get thanked often.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, they are the unsung heroes. They just go about their business, and
Absolutely.
You don't think about them, but they're out there all the time, and they are a very talented group of people.
We were talking the other day, and if you want to be stuck in a snowstorm, be stuck in Fostoria, because the streets will be cleaner faster than anywhere else in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they take pride in that.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And so this concludes another episode of
Shut Up and Listen.
Small Town Stories
with Sarah
and Renee.